we gonna get down to that. Like I said, your boy is definitely, in a better place right now. So,
You're on.
all right. Um,
Yes, sir.
that,
Sorry. Thank you. Let me just refresh the page.
mm, you gonna do the opening thing with
That's on the radio.
Oh yeah, I forgot. All right. Um, All right, so I'm just gonna, get it all started because normally we have like an opening and stuff, but we having some equipment difficulties because things in update. Apple, Mac, they have something going on, and our technician is kind of on strike. We don't got nobody, no slave laborer, making him do his job correctly. What up, Jamel? All right. DNAradio.net presents BU Nation with your host. This is your boy Rockman. BU is a live interactive radio program for our brothers and sisters within the same gender loving community or SGL community or the gay LGBTQ community. BU and always be true to thyself. To be you takes to be true to yourself takes courage. It requires you to be introspective, sincere, open-minded, and fair. It does not mean that you are inconsiderate or disrespectful of others. It means that you will not let others define you or make decisions for you to make for yourself. BU on DNAradio.net is a radio program to help support and uplift our brothers and sisters within our same gender loving community and the download communities. We are human beings who have a life, not a so-called lifestyle. BU is not a radio program that gives away any of our same gender loving or download intimate secrets within our community or anything of that nature. What up, Royce? So please understand, we at BU are not trying to be a so-called superhead or tele program. Furthermore, it's not a gossip type program such as TMZ, Page Six, or Wendy Williams, etc. We, the BU and BUNation.net staff, team, family, come in love, peace, and support. Again, I'm your host, Rockman. What up, Cricket? How you been? Haven't seen you in a while. All right. Um, I got a lot of things I want to cover up. A few weeks ago, I was going to, do a topic, but obviously I wasn't around for that. So I'm going to add that with something fresh that, kind of was on my mind. Ain't much, Royce. Same old, same old. Just sitting here making it, taking it one day at a time. Steve Lee, okay. What up, Mr. Lee Phillips? All right. Thank you for tuning in. All right. Today I'm going to talk about aesthetics, morality, representation, choices, attitude, and I guess you could say bonds and connections. And my bonus topic will be, I kind of did it, but I'm going to get into better details than I did in the past. It's basically about the laws of attraction, understanding. All right. We're going to start with morality. Everybody has their way of how they, choose to want to do things and live in life. And I feel like at times, like, we'll do ourselves a better justice if we actually understand what it is we're trying to convey and how we're trying to, represent ourselves and what we're trying to put out there in life. What up, Shamel? All right, we got another fellow Taurus in the house. There's a lot of us in the building today. It's too early to go to sleep, boy. The night just beginning. It's Saturday night. Trust me, heads are trying to get out there and get lit and get what they say turned up or whatnot. And it's been a minute for me. But we all have our, aesthetics as to how we carry ourselves and how we choose to represent ourselves and what we want the world to see. And of course, some of it stems on, like I said, aesthetics or style, or some of us are proud and we walk our truths. Now, within that, how true can you be to, walk your truth and maintain that integral, regalness about, hey, like, I'm comfortable in my skin, I'm comfortable where I'm at. And it goes beyond like, disclosing your sexual orientation and whatnot or your agenda, but how you live your life as a human being. You're at work Snap. At least you out there making some money, some bread, man. Because trust me, money fuels you for the things you might want to do in life. But I know it's a lot of things, like I said, because I try my best to interact and socialize and learn things, because I'm a big wellspring of information and knowledge, and I try my best to learn as much as I can, not just for myself, but for the people around me. Hopefully, pass it down. Um, again, aesthetics and style. Thank you for the volume. Wow, 'cause I really was that low. Um, again, for those who's tuning in on my page, if you're having a hard time and it keeps going in and out, you could tune in on Andy Lee. It'll be a better connection and broadcast, and I can see your comments in, and I could I'll see it on my page over here, or I'll see it on, like I said, Andy Lee, or I'll see it on YouTube. So we're on YouTube too, and we're on Instagram. But the next one, like I said, would be I'm going to touch more on aesthetics, but I'm going to go to representation. Again, like how you choose to represent yourself and what you want the world to see. I noticed that whether you go, like I said, to a club and a bar, and I hate using that scene, but those seem to be the most logical places to socialize and meet people, unless it's like a party, a gathering, or something. Somebody's holding it, a get together or something. You're bound to see people interacting, socializing. You see people in groups sometimes, you know, sharing things in common or things of like mind. What up, Tori? Tori Sands, okay. And thank you for that, by the way. Thank you. Um, and you see so many. Thank you. You see so many different things. Like I said, everybody has different displays. Some people have different, like I said, what up, Simi? Simi Murphy, okay. Thank you for joining. Thank you for, tuning in. I look at it like this. We're all adults. Especially we're responsible and we're definitely supposed to be accountable for our actions and how we, do things and how we represent. We're supposed to at least bring our best selves to the table. And again, whether you're looking for friendships, you're making a general connection to socialize, you need a social outlet outing, you want to, dance. What up, twin? Again, socializing is not a bad thing when you want to do things, whether you want to compliment somebody based on their style, what they might have on, you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature. Now it comes to the point where we're dealing with, okay, the laws of attraction. Now, within that said, everybody seems to have a drive that everybody's looking for something. We all want something at some point. Everybody is driven by something different, no different than you get in the heterosexual world. And I rather use that, but I don't want to go too deep because some of it will come off heteronormative, if you might say. But it dives into attitude. And yeah, you definitely hit the nail on the head, Rod. Presentation and appearance is important when interacting with other people. But did you know that there's some people, especially within our, community? What up, Lark? We tend to focus on just what up, Wiz, my man, Wiz in the house. Um, we tend to get lost in the appearance of somebody, whether they could be appealing, they could be physically appealing, they could be sexually appealing. They have this kind of energy, this charisma, this glow. Sometimes you can't help who you find attractive. They may have something about their spirit, but whatever it is, you're driven or you're drawn to that person. Now, with them being drawn, we also got to understand where that person is at. And even on the simple basic things, it's easy to read. Read body language, chemistry. You can tell somebody wants to be bothered or they would welcome your approach. Some of us tend to overstep our boundaries in a way, and I'm saying that in a way where, again, who doesn't want the hot girl or the good-looking girl, the sexy, pretty girl, or the cute, dope fly dude, who dress good, smell good, the whole 9 yards. But yet, some of them have, ways about them too. And what they say, everything that glitters is definitely not gold. I could definitely, testify to that. And again, we live and we learn from our experiences as to what we do and what we approach. And sometimes it's not a bad idea to want to go out there, put yourself on a limb to see what it could do, because who knows? You might be, what that individual calls for and what they're looking for, and they might just want, for that is. But regardless, it's like when do we learn to deal with the target at hand of who that individual is and what they choose to be? Or if they choose to be something that's on a level that, is too high for you to reach on the shelf, like, yes, it is. Yes, it is. And even with, people who you would deem attractive, even sometimes they have issues that's unresolved that they quite didn't, deal with themselves. Simi Murphy says, always judging by the book, by the cover, or the certain chapters. Yeah, sometimes it's about the chapter when you come in. When you come to people's lives, it's definitely about the time and to where these people are at and if they have room for these things. Some people never make room for certain things to occur in their life, but yet they're the ones that's complaining because they're too busy holding on to things that they need to let go so you can make room for those things. And even I had to learn that lesson. I'm no exception to the rule when it comes to that thing because at one point, I guess you could say we all have a form of toxicity within us or a weakness, I would say, that would offset us and set us back and hinder us so that we won't be able to progress to the finer things that's allotted for us. We all have different strengths and weaknesses as to how far we could go to things. And quite frankly, I'm not interested in things that go beyond the scope of my strength to what I'm able to do on my own merit, by myself. And if I have to be anything more than that, it's pointless to me. But a lot of people who feel like they're a little more proactive with go getting, and trust me, I'm very much a go getter. I just know what I can go get versus what I shouldn't go and get because it's not worthy of the time and the effort. The effort I'll put in, if even if I attained it, it wouldn't justify what I've invested. Rod also says this when you feel things out and communicate. Communication is definitely key. I'm gonna get into the communication part about that as well. But Tori says I'm mostly attracted to the imperfections of guys. No, and that's the thing. The imperfections of people tend to be the perfections of what humanity is. But again, it's about choosing something familiar that you know. Some people aren't driven by the right things. Like I said again, I hate using me as an example, but I could only speak on something I know that happens to involve me. I feel like a lot of people tend to make that mistake with me. They like what they see, but once they realize how I tick, how I operate, how I work, they try to change that very thing. But they don't realize within trying to change that, they're changing the very things that drew them to me in the first place. That's like asking me not to be me. Now, if you have some kind of insecurities or apprehension or again unresolved issues that have nothing to do with me, or maybe you feel threatened by my presence or the energy that I put out there, I can't turn that off. That's naturally how I operate. I exist on that level, and I get better depending on, I guess you say, who's around me. No, perfect and control to me is basically an illusion. There are certain things we have control over, but control is an illusion because we want control over so many things, even the inevitable things that we weren't meant to have control over. We try to change that because we would somewhere in life. I guess we learned and we taught that we could transform it into, and to some degree that's true, but we gotta be realistic about it. What's within your realm? What's within your jurisdiction? What's within your power? Those are things we should focus on. And I give the reason why I guess you could say I look like I could do anything because I focus on my strengths. And my strengths is what pulls me through, shining where it looks like, yo, like, is there any limits to this dude? What up, Sil? Right now, I'm gonna take a minute. I'm taking calls, so if you wanna, chime in or add to it, you can call us live. 917-727-8020. Again, that number is 917-727-8020. Call. Give me some insight. Let me know some of your thoughts and whatnot, and definitely be a part of BU. Um, Next, I will go for drive and attitude. Attitude is definitely a big thing that I'm definitely going to elaborate and sponge on because it's people don't realize that that's a big part of it too. You know, Whatever you give off, whether you want to be approached or not, or if you have room and time for these things, like how do you go about those things? I noticed that with some of I would say, now I'm going to start again from my perspective. I would go for the women I tend to find attractive. I know not every woman is the same way, but the women I tend to be attracted tend to have the most nastiest attitude, like as if I've done something to them, or I remind them of their failed attempts with guys in their past or something. And basically, they thinking that I should approach them or exhibit being on the same level as them. And because I can't exhibit being that, because I don't have those qualities within me. Perfect, yeah. I don't have those qualities in me, so therefore I can't produce that and be that. So they're looking for something, and some of it tends to be of the toxic variant that I just can't function on because I just don't have that on me, even on my worst day. What up, Andre? Um, but to want to be that way where they would consider normal, because some people are so used to, you know, they're so used to this, negativity and bad things happening because of the individuals they choose. And again, I tend to say this because women aren't the only one that is capable of making that choice. Men could do it too. We're choosing the bad women, or in fact, for some of us brothers who choose those brothers, and I'm sure women who choose other women go through that more or less. I mean, we're human beings. Human beings tend to be complicated, whether we're males or females. We all have our issues. Nobody is any bad or any worse or any better or any, we're just different. But because it's packaged in a different form, it tends to not go so well with certain people because it's not what they want. I heard a church saying that says, church going people tend to get mad or upset and want to look down upon people who sin differently than them. And even in the church, it goes on. And again, I'm not trying to make this a religious, debacle, but that's just the truth about us. As human beings, we tend to look down on people when they do things that we feel like, oh, they didn't do it our way, or look at it from our perspective and point of view. Who's to say that they can't find a better way to do it? And yes, that's so true, TJ. Some people do find comfort in familiarity. And then we also live in a world where nobody wants to do things alone. Meaning, if you choose a path or the road less traveled, and you and a handful of people who are traveling or traversing on that path and that road, it gets lonely because you don't have very many people to choose from or interact with or be able to relate to that you feel like you'd want to give you all or invest your time and energy. So you got to make do with what's available. But we tend to not want to deal with the fact that there's very few people in that realm and that's celebrating that. And quite frankly, I learned over the years, even though it was only beginning, I'm going to stand my ground. If I have to take the road that I pick and the path that I chose to go down, if I have to do it alone, so be it. That doesn't bother me because I have peace. I have the energy and more time to exhibit living the life I want to live, that I believe that I want to be this type of man. And I know that there's somebody that wants me to be this type of man, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, anything, because they know that it's rare. It's hard to find somebody on that level. And again, what you just said, TJ, is definitely good. True, in that when people seek out what's familiar, ain't much, ain't much more you can say when it comes to that. But so one of my other thoughts was what you've experienced will always vary between others. So just because you can't see yourself traveling down a path or a road, or you feel like that if somebody presents you with a choice or they give you their experience or their opinion of how they feel about something, rather than try to downplay it or put yourself in the situation, you know how you would do in that situation. You know you would probably choose something different. Why would you want to shun somebody or block somebody or make them feel like their choice or what they choose for themselves is wrong? All you got to know is that at the end of the day, there's options and choices. You should just be happy with the fact that you, yourself as an individual, wouldn't choose that as a choice. That doesn't work for you. And I always said that to say this, especially when it comes to preference. Preference is a word that I wish I really learned in my early 20s when I was first coming into this, and learning. What up, young Quiz? Um, because I didn't have nobody to guide me. And it's funny because I was talking to a few friends the other day, and they know who they are. My Taurus brothers over there. Um, and I'm gonna say it again. I became the man. Yes, I'm 37. This man before you, right here, that's full of confidence, full of life, full of spirit, passion, fun, adventures. I came a long way to comfortable with my skin, and I became the man that I felt like I wanted to guide me growing up into those things. But I had to go through whatever situations I had to go through, good and bad, whatever hardships I had. It tempered me to be who I am with that wisdom, that experience of enduring. And I've endured a lot. I've endured a lot to the point that I said to myself, wow, to have a person to be that strong minded and, gifted to look through those things and stand against adversity, to still want to strive to be yourself. What up, What up? Damn, Alex. Damn, I was gonna call you by your crazy name. No. What up, Mr. Diaz? Thank you for tuning in. Um, it goes to say like I can't go back to being the old me. I can't live at that life of being unsure and uncertain and letting other people's influence try to guide me. Mind you, some of the influence did get in, but I turned those influence into what it is today. Basically, whatever was handed to me, whatever I was supposed to get that rubbed off from other people, being influential, I took it and transformed it to what you see today. And that's basically who it is. You're looking at things that came from people who I've encountered. And of course, I'm sure I left a lasting impression on them as well, good or bad. But, a lot of people try to guide me into a sense of, you know, traversing down their road because it'd be nothing more outstanding than to have somebody who's full of life, full of hope, full of spirit to exist on that continuum, and that you have somebody who's strong and comforting that makes you feel like you have the strength to go on and you're not doing this by yourself. But some choices that some people choose, I would look at it like this. I have a need for people all the time. I just don't have a need for certain choices that people would choose because those choices would hinder me. Meaning that who's to say I haven't been there and done that, and my strength or my weaknesses took me to the edge to say that whether I would be successful in that endeavor and if I apply these, aesthetics or not, I know what works and what doesn't work for me. And even beyond whether I put a try and honestly do it versus if I don't, I know with the mindset that I have going into certain things, again, what would work for me. I mean, I know myself that well. I have to. I mean, nobody spends 37, almost 40 years of their life not, but then trust me, some people have their heads firmly glued to their ass like you wouldn't believe. And trust me, Taurus says, yeah, we can be stubborn, but again, stubbornness is like a light switch. It's either you turn it on or you turn it off. What up, Leo? Oh, Trista, there's a nice face I haven't seen in a while. What's going on, girl? Haven't seen you in a minute. How the kids? How's the husband? But again, like I said, I try not to I try not to push my morality or my way of life on others, but I stand firmly and believe in like, hey, I'm gonna live the life I live because
Can I interject
sure,
with a question?
sure thing.
You mentioned something about stubbornness and Taurus.
Yes.
I thought it was just a common personality trait. You mean to tell me you guys can turn it on and turn it off?
Yeah, I mean, the only way we be stubborn, you gotta give us a reason. And I would say, and I'm only speaking for myself, but I'm sure that other people could agree to that, other Tauruses.
We have a Leo in the house, right? Leo?
Yep, Leo, August.
Oh wow, we got the boss, the sun, the big shining star. Okay.
So I'm wondering,
And it's funny because my name means your sign, even though I'm not a lion, but
well, to pick up on the Taurus. So you mean to tell me that any given minute of the day, you can turn on your stubbornness and turn it off? It's not something that just comes natural.
it comes natural if you ask for it. I mean, if you put us in a position where that would come to try to shake us from something that logically it says it like this, okay, and even if you have some type of facts to back up your claim, my point is it still leads up to a choice. I would say I suddenly choose something no different than if I want to wear a black Puma shirt today or a brown or a gray Puma shirt. That's my choice. Nobody has the right to tell me what I should wear. So therefore, I'm going to fight stubbornly and tell you, okay, if you like that color, that's fine. I'm going to wear what works for me.
So okay, that's what. Okay, now in terms of negotiating, a deal,
I'm a firm believer of compromise. I don't mind compromise because
so
why?
how you pronounce it? Taurian? Is that pronounced?
Taurian, yep.
So a Taurian can actually be.
Reasonable and things can get done where they're just not standing their ground and say, oh, I'm going to stand here and nothing's going to get done. I'm not one of those.
So you are compromisable. Is that such a word?
It's not, but I'm compromising.
You're compromising.
Yes.
Thank you. So it's not that you're a Taurus. You just 1,000% stubborn.
No, it's a choice. No different than if somebody wants to be wicked and fly on a broomstick, then be my guest. What's stopping you?
Well, I'm just dealing with the stubbornness part because you brought it up. I'm wondering, does the same thing apply for Leo? You guys turn on your stubbornness. Are they stubborn also in terms of males?
I think
What is it, bossy or?
I think everything's supposed to go our way.
So is that bossy? Is that bossy?
it's prideful and bossy. Yeah, they tend to be, and sometimes pride is not a bad thing. And again, it's not what you do; it's how you do it.
Oh, you calling it pride?
They have pride. Yeah, they pride. I would say pride is their biggest flaw, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, though.
From your life experience. So it's not stubbornness like a Taurus.
No,
I thought it was stubbornness.
it's pride. You ever heard like the lion, pride, and the sun? Think about the sun. It's like nobody's brighter than me. I'm proud.
Come back to the mic.
Nobody's brighter than me. I'm big and I'm proud. Everything circles around me. That's that.
So can a Leo's prideness, such a word, I don't know.
The prideful ways.
Thank you, prideful ways. Can they turn on and turn off, or just like you just can't have no control?
I think it could be because
I'm
it is.
asking the Leo.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. All right.
I'm kind of different from other Leos. Like I ain't prideful, and then I'm more laid back. Like,
Now, will Grandpa agree?
yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
What up, Larry?
I just wanted to know that, Mr. Taurus, that you guys, I never knew you just turn on, turn off. I thought that was just one of your birth traits, and you can't control it. But you're saying
no, it's usually born from when people think they could try to manipulate or get our way with things that they normally would do, and they use clever diversion and they hide things in layers to try to get things favorable to work in their favor. When, if they know they was being direct and straight up, it would be flat out no. And people. I don't know. I think most human beings tend to like to dominate things, and what better power to have than you could dominate someone who's strong, who's naturally dominant, but they're not trying to do it. So trying to dominate those people is like winning the biggest reward that life has to offer because you outsmarted that person and you got something that you wouldn't normally get inexplicably.
See, you go so deep sometimes that it loses me. I want to try to bring it into something a little bit more simple so I can understand.
They kind of dumb it down a little bit.
Oh, my bad. I get deep sometimes. I get overboard.
Very, very deep. So, okay, here's an example in terms of negotiating, Mr. Taurus. Okay, if we offered you a deal of 49% and the organization kept 51%, that's control of the business, okay? You can control 49%, we control 51%. But when it came time for the profits, we give you 51% of the profits, and we'll take 49% of the profits in terms of our give and take. You gave us a little bit on this end, we'll give you back a little bit on that end.
We have a deal. First of all, I'm not money hungry, and two, control is not really something that's big on me. Again, because I pick and choose where it's supposed to be. Now, things I feel.
You understand what I
No, and that's why I would say that type of negotiation, you wouldn't have no problem. I would.
So you wouldn't be stubborn and say, no, I want the same thing you got. So if we gave in on one point and you gave in on another point, we can move forward on the deal.
Listen, quid pro quo. You got to give a little to get a little, and I don't mind that. Again, because I'm not gung ho on control. So if you want control over the company mean that much for you, but you're compensating me for something else where you're kind of being fair about the deal, I'm all game.
But we're only 2% apart. It's not like 1,000% apart. It's only 2% each way.
Yeah.
So you're not that stubborn to say no. I'm not going to do the deal.
Nope, it wouldn't bother me. I wouldn't lose no sleep.
Okay, I just want to understand this control of stubbornness. Okay.
I tend to be a little bit more gung ho when it comes to emotional things or things of love, like you say. But it's not without reason because I'm strong and I'm structured. There's a reason why people feel like they want to kind of hang around me because I exhibit things that most people tend to not be, and it's a matter of choice. We all have greatness in us, but some people choose not to do it. They choose to let other people do it, and they try to leech off them and reap the benefits.
So in regards, you're saying something? So in regards to this love and relationship thing, what would that stubbornness? When would that stubbornness show its head? When would it come out?
Think about
in terms of they want a 68 and you want a 69, something like that.
It usually comes. I hate to say, my luck. It tends to be when it comes to sex.
So, like, give me an example. It's not too personal. Give us a hypothetical.
Mine's comes from the first of all. Like I understand to a certain degree, it's a established hierarchy for. And like I said again, yeah.
Established hierarchy.
That's how I look at it. Like it's a control.
So
like
you're making this up. There's no such thing.
I think it is figuratively. It's just that it's not. No. Yeah.
Now you are. Okay.
It's not. You know how they say certain things don't have to be said to be understood. It's understood that somebody decided to write the template in the rules as to how same gender loving is supposed to occur. You know, people think about it like this. Because I'm tall.
Make it plain now. Malcolm X said, make it plain. You get kind of deep on us over here.
Because I'm tall and slim, that doesn't necessarily mean I should play basketball. I might be built to play basketball, might have the credentials or the traits to do it effectively, but my heart's not in it. What if I want to
ask you that question? Did the guy ask you that last time? Mm-hmm.
It was something along the lines, and I used that analogy before. But then, even when it comes to sex, I tend to be built for most people's fantasy, and even in the most obscure ways, I'm just like, how do you get that from me? But then, I can't pick and control how people think and what comes in their mind and how they perceive me or what they fantasize about me.
So, because you're 6'3", they assume what?
That I could that I could take care of their wildest dreams and fantasies, not realizing if they gave me the open mic, I would probably choose something else, or those people wouldn't even really be my choice.
So I'm trying to get their stubbornness and like where that stubbornness.
Well, they think I should trick my mind to want less of something or something that fits in the realm of where they can actually fit in the spectrum of what I would go for. Meaning that if I stay stuck to the aesthetics of what I'm used to and what I would like, especially when it comes to dealing with same gender loving, a lot of people wouldn't be able to be at their choice because, again, or better yet, if sex was doors of what you would like and what you desire, there's certain doors I wouldn't be behind. So they open those doors thinking I would be behind it. Somebody like me wouldn't be behind that door.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't be.
You don't follow the herd.
Yeah. What up, Nate? What up, Keith? What up, Calvin?
Is that your Nate or our Nate?
Different Nate.
Okay.
Yeah. He used to come to the zone.
Hey, TMI.
No, but you know him as a singer. You know that's the so you know.
Oh, okay. You know you're on radio all around the world. So I want to remind you of that when you certain things on the radio. Okay.
But we got another Leo in the house. Nate is actually a Leo.
Oh, okay. So that's different.
Yeah, he is. Oh no, he's one of the good kinds. He's definitely one of the wholesome ones that he gives good credibility to this.
I want to turn back over to you because I broke into your stubbornness topic.
But basically, like I said, I'll use the feminine card too. It is natural for certain variants of feminine men to want to deal with somebody masculine, but they tend to get upset when somebody like me likes other masculine guys. But then I tell them, so they try to dull me to be in that realm, to be open to be receptive to them, because like as if unless you stand out as an individual, that style, that aesthetic doesn't please me. It's not saying that it has to do it to meet my standards and stuff, because it's not about standards, it's about preference. If for what you see within me and what you believe with me, what you imagine or fantasize, it can only be realized by certain types of people. I'm only willing to live at that level if a certain type of person is on the receiving end.
Okay, so I'm getting a better understanding now. So you're saying if somebody was feminine, came up to you, 6'3", masculine looking, they assume you're going to be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for them because you're masculine and they're feminine, and you're supposed to be totally in love with them. Is that correct?
Yeah, and like I said, I have nothing against feminine. Some of my good friends and best friends are feminine guys. I just don't see me being sexually, romantic, or physically attracted to them because, again, it's not saying I'm the most masculine guy out there, but I see it like this. If most dudes choose me because of that factor, and I have that quality without being toxic,
what do you mean by toxic?
Toxic, like I'm overboard, like I'm an alpha male and I got something to prove and I gotta dominate somebody, and I don't talk about my dick game, or I got stroke out the ass. Just to people out there in general, for being like that, like I don't gotta broadcast and showboat or be like that. I'm only interested in proving one thing, and it's if somebody who I have eyes for, I'm just gonna prove it to you that I should be your choice, and you wouldn't want no other choice.
So okay, how do you okay, I know we're taking a little off your agenda. So if you're in a club and you're being hit on by feminine guys, how do you politely press them off?
I mean, I let them know that they're not wrong for approaching me, that anybody can approach me.
You have a conversation or just body?
Well, no. Sometimes I use body language. Sometimes I try to understand, and my problem is about trying to understand things. Sometimes I try too much, and I try to get other people to understand me so they don't feel bad or think of the worst. Because I had people say some pretty nasty, fucked up things, all because I'm do this too much, I'm doing that too much, or you think too much, or you looking at the wrong thing. But like at the end of the day, and then they want to say the worst thing was, oh, don't judge me. No, I'm not judging you as a person overall because I don't know you enough to judge you. I don't even know. I could judge you based on how you approach me and what you're bringing to the table. And what you're bringing to the table, I'm not buying. That's not working for me. Maybe you might be used to doing that, and that might have won you the other people you dealt with in your past. But I'm a different breed. I don't function on those levels.
I'm sure you're in a club and you're just blasting. You don't have the opportunity to do all that explaining to them. I don't think.
No, but body language and things. Here's my point: when you try to shoot your shot, and if I'm not being receptive to a thing and making it easy, or you don't get me to crack a smile or get and mind you, I could be quite talkative and chatty, especially if the vibe and the chemistry is right. And it's no different than even when you approach a female. You would definitely know if you have the time of day and she wants you to talk to her, approach her, or if she welcomes your conversation. And it's the same thing. Like I said, we're human. It's human nature. We know those things. And like I say, even when I approach somebody, I know who I could go for, and it would be favorable where I would get more a conversation and probably more after that, versus where I can't get a word in edgewise because that person don't really want to have to hear what I have to say. You're annoying. Go away.
They're telling you that?
No, their language is telling me that, and I know it. Trust me, and I'm not interested in wanting to talk to something that's apprehensive or that don't want to really be receptive to what I have to say. If I want to say something, because I'm not gonna waste your time, I damn sure ain't gonna waste my time.
All right, I'm gonna turn you back over to your regular schedule. Thank you.
Thank you, young Chris. So again, if anybody could, what up, Emmanuel? Oh, happy birthday, Mr. Libra. It's Libra season, y'all. It's my good friend Junior's birthday. Today is his day, the 19th. He's a Libra, just like my man Wiz, who had a birthday. We got Libra seasons, and oh yeah, Libras are our brothers as Tauruses. Yes, they are. They mirror us on certain things, and they're quite gifted and talented if they know what they're doing. What up, Garrick?
Well, since you know about the zodiac signs so well,
I just know about the personalities and traits. That's
okay,
it.
well, why don't you take about a minute to explain what you know about Libras in 1 minute, if possible?
All right. Libras are very perceptive. They're very go-getters. They're very resourceful. They could, they could be in a bad situation and they know how to flip it and make it work out as if nothing ever went wrong. They're definitely intuitive. They have a thing or two about romance and passion, similar to us Tauruses. Again, because they're ruled by Venus and their energies is more or less, like I said, a match. And they're actually quite good friends. They're very good listeners at times when their heads are not too much in the clouds. And they definitely know how to encourage people and give you the encouragement to know that you could be a better version of you. And they could push you to do things you didn't think was possible within yourself. Now, the bad part about them is you don't want to argue with them. They're the king of argument. You will not win, especially with a Libra woman. The thing about Libras, because their sign is a scale, they're very good at arguing both points of an argument, both the good and the negative. And again, that's where you're absolutely trapped. So you're better off just like, just take a seat. Unless you got good credentials and you got good facts and logic to beat them, you won't win. So don't do it to yourself. Don't mention it. But again, like I said, get turned up. It's Libra season, so and Libras know how to have fun and party. That's definitely they got that skill with them.
Yeah, right.
What about that number one more time?
All right, again, we're here live. If y'all want to tune in, y'all want to add, interject, or bring something, you gotta type in the live comments down here, or you can call us at 917-727-8020. Again, that number is 917-727-8020.
Now, I was over here playing with the computer, trying to get everything working. Now everything's working. Thank God for that. Could you be so kind to explain what the topic is of tonight?
All right. Again, the topic is, the main, which is the bonus, would be the laws of attraction. So far, I covered morality, aesthetics, representation, choices, attitude, and I'm going to touch on drive a little. Now, as far as the laws of attraction goes, we have this thing called drive, especially as men. Men, we tend to be driven by a lot of things, not just sexually driven. But nonetheless, we have a drive. And Some of it could be a good thing and a bad thing, but for the most part, your drive or being driven shouldn't come in the form of you have to pressure somebody. And my belief is, and I feel like, when it comes to dealing with me and what my energy, circumvents, um, I don't want to be too overwhelming or dominating in any aspect that has to deal with me. I want everything to kind of somewhat maintain the balance, because that's what the work is, to keep it like that. No different than the way the earth is. The earth is in the perfect place that is capable of sustaining life. Any degree to the left or the right out of the natural path of the orbit that it exhibits, and life, as you know, probably would cease to exist. But if you're driven, you shouldn't let your drive overwhelm and overtake the fact of who you feel like you have an attraction to. And if they're not naturally driven to move in that sense, meaning that if you see that they move in a different way, it's like fish and birds. A, a bird belongs in the sky, they got wings. Fish, they have scales, they belong in the ocean, they have gills, they can breathe. It's not saying that they can't get along or somehow coexist, but in a sense of taking one out of the environment so that that one could exhibit living comfortably in your environment where you are. Some of us don't take the ability to learn how to deal with certain things weren't meant to be taken out of environment, or better yet, you got to learn how to take certain parts of it where it is applicable, where it can exhibit, existing in that environment. And people tend to want things to go their way, and it's one sided or become selfishness, borderline selfishness. And it's just so sad that a lot of things go wasted. And again, what they say, and it goes beyond like hurt people hurt people. You tend to think that, and if somebody allows it to happen, guess what happens? Now we got a toxic variant that person thinks that that's how you are supposed to be around people, or that's what they expect. Whatever, Bernard, you know. And I see it. Sometimes I say to myself, like, excuse me, I get people who I feel like, I won't say that I'm any better than them, but they have a certain weakness because they allow other people to take advantage or breed that weakness into them. So they think that when they get around me, I'm more or less the same thing. That it's the same deal, and they have to act accordingly to get that because that's the normal. And I'm kind of against that. Now, to some degree, that does come natural for people when they're naturally there. But again, that's somebody who don't have their own minds to make their own choices to move how they want to move and exhibit existing, feel comfortable the way they feel that they want to do. That person's just not for me, male or female. Even women are notorious for that, but then males can be just as bad when it comes to that. But when women do it, they accept on so many levels because they've been told so long that, oh, men are stronger than women. Men do this, men do that. Women could do this. Women only could do that, or you could go so far. I remember as a kid, some of my female cousins. I'm glad that some of them are strong. They're strong-minded, they're strong-willed, no different than myself. And they say, okay, so you a boy. That doesn't mean anything better. You're not any better. I could do just as good as you can. Not even just that, even academics, even in certain things of sports. Yeah, physically we might be built, but guess what? Drive, will, and determination, it's a human thing. Women are our counterparts, no different than we are theirs. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, we mirror each other, but we tend to forget that. And it leads me to my next topic, which is bonds and connections. A lot of us would like to believe that we share true connections and bonds with some people, whether it's family members or even friends, or maybe a mate, a potential mate. How do we know if we're in the right page or we're doing the right thing? And sometimes, like I think my buddy Rod said it better than I can. Um, Communication is something that's hardly ever talked about or hardly ever the focus. And when you don't have that, bad communication means bad understanding, and now you're in a disposition where when you have a misunderstanding, it just leads you to be in a bad place, and that's definitely not a place I want to be. But again, like, how do you have an attitude with somebody when they show you or tell you or help you understand why that person, why you may not be a good choice for them? But why do we think that we are good choices for people that we just insisted upon? Like I said, I learned a lesson from the women I found attractive. Once she made it clear, she didn't have to tell me. She made it clear with her actions and how she acted towards the things, and I'm a pretty good reader at those things. Like I said, I make it my business to understand and know things that that person would never give me credit for. Not that I have to, but hey, at the end of the day, they'll come to say to me like, "How did you know that? Or how did you find that out?" People highly underestimate the value of when you're actually really interested in somebody and you truly share something beyond the physical attraction. Only because, like I said, it goes less with dealing with that individual and more so with the variant of, hey, I like what I see. Now, the only thing that's left is I got to know who that person is, who you choose to be as an individual, what represents you, how you work. Because again, you don't hold a patent as to saying I can't approach somebody of your caliber or your magnitude. It's just that I may not have what it takes to deal with you as an individual, but someone of your likeness or your image, my job as a Taurus is I'm going to go find somebody who's just as appealing on that level, but somebody who I can actually talk to, someone who I can actually resonate with, someone who actually wants the time. You know, it would be nice if we could all attempt to try and tackle it at the source. But what bothers us or prevents us from a true understanding, and I think it's the aesthetics, how certain people choose to represent their lives and how they choose to move. And again, if they choose to move a certain way, that's your choice. Be happy and proud with it. Some people would actually go out the way to try to change certain things that actually make them happy in order to try to be a perfect fit. And there again, there's no such thing as perfection, but a fit for that person. If you have to change something that you feel is necessary to hold on that makes you happy to be with somebody, obviously that's not the right person to be with. And again, especially again, a good friend, a very good friend, a good Taurus friend gave me this um, about how certain things were appealing. Like he said it better than I do, and that and invite and it's not me playing tit for tat, but I'm definitely gonna use your words back at you because it was something that I'm gonna use for the rest of my life. Um, if certain people don't appeal to your aesthetics as to what makes you feel comfortable to represent yourself that way, then evidently that's not a good person to choose. If you know what I'm saying. Like I'll use me as an example. If a feminine guy find me attractive, I'm not saying don't find me attractive. I'm not saying you can't approach me. But if I help you understand as to why, I wouldn't be celebratory of, of welcoming you on that level, especially if you're trying to be intimate, romantic, or sexual with me, you got to understand, we do have a thing called preference. And another friend had a better example than this. He said about going to the gym. If I go to a gym and I look good and I'm cut up and I'm defined, why wouldn't I want to deal with somebody of that nature who's on a similar level who looks nice too? I mean, if I take off my shirt and get naked, like you're gonna like what you see, but then I should also equally like what I see too. I want to find the person I'm with just as appealing as they find me.
But sometimes doesn't opposites attract?
Yes, as far as personalities, not as far as
Physical
yeah,
appearance?
yeah, physical appearance. You might want somebody like, for instance, some people might be into tall, slim, and they're not like gym muscular guys or thick guys or somebody that has a stomach.
But I'm sure you've heard of those parties called bear parties. So bears are attracted. I mean, I don't know why they give themselves that crazy name, but at least they didn't say other
They're
people.
big, they're big, they're hairy.
But
They
bears are attracted to bears, which is totally nothing I want to be associated with, unless they can pack a house at a conference zone. Pack the house at
listen. They
$50 a head.
can. I mean, there's some.
$50 a head, right?
But yeah, but there's somebody for everybody. There's somebody that wants you just exactly where you are. The thing is, I think a lot of us we can't help what we're attracted to, but you can understand that, hey, look, if I'm a certain way, I know I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but the thing is, I'm not trying to appeal to everybody.
But you were talking about the gym. So it's not necessarily because a person got this beautiful physique and they're in the gym. Not everybody in the gym want a person with a beautiful physique body because they
Yes.
want to be one that stands out. If they have two equals, like, well, you're both sharing the attention. The one with the beautiful body might want 1,000% of all the eyes on
But
them.
it's not about the attention. I'm talking about as far as
Like
I'm not talking about as far as getting out there and getting revenue attention from other people. I'm talking about what you see within the person that you say, I'm attracted to you. I want to be with you. I like what I see.
Yeah, I think they need to balance each other out.
They got to find some kind of appeal. I mean, it's not always based on the looks, but usually that's how it starts. It starts with
but
what you see.
I've seen, I'm being controlled. In my life, I've seen this gorgeous, beautiful black person in a Mercedes Benz with an old white man older than me. I'm going, that can't be his father.
Yes, and I've been passed up for those people as well too. They looked past me and went straight for grandpa. And I was like,
So back to your scenario about people in the gym, beautiful physiques, wanting beautiful physiques. That's not necessarily always the case.
no, it's not. I mean, it depends on the individual. Some people, and I'm not even saying that for those who do. Like again, if you work hard for your body, why should I work hard and have this appeal that
I'm
everybody?
talking about you, not everybody in the gym wanting
Well,
to have
I don't.
an equal partner.
Well, first of all, I don't spend time in the gym, but
You brought it up, so I thought.
no, I was using that because somebody who went to the gym said this, and I said that makes sense. Now I can see why.
But then again, it doesn't, because there's two sides to every.
Again, but it all depends on the individual.
Yes.
Now, I say certain individuals feel that way. No different than, okay, if I'm slim, trim, and attractive, I want somebody else who's kind of, petite and in shape a little bit. I don't want somebody who's heavy and they're breathing neck sweat down my back and like nah.
So that's your personal preference. I remember, and I can quote Liberace. He said, and Liberace is sort of like feminine, filthy rich, bling, 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 all that gold and jewelry looking ridiculous. He said he can't help it, but he's attracted to strays. He didn't want someone who looked like him, who come from wealth. When he went looking for a playmate, he went to the streets.
It's because it's the value. It's because of the value. People with money tend to not appreciate the finer things and have that quality set. And then people with money they tend not to value the wholesome things or qualities about dealing with somebody who may have less or will not be as fortunate.
No. You misunderstand what I'm saying. Liberace, who had wealth, he said he is attracted to strays. He did not want another filthy rich person like him to be his playmate. He went searching for strays. And I sometimes can understand what he was saying. You know what I'm saying? I can relate to that to some degree.
They think to a certain level, and they think on a certain level, and the thing that they're looking for, other rich people aren't exhibiting, those traits because they want the same thing. So we're both the same on the same tier caliber stuff, and I decided to play with you. You can't fulfill me in the way these lesser people who may have less.
Well, I don't say they lesser people. It's just that their fantasy, like you mentioned before about fantasies. You being 6'3", somebody feeling talking to you because they have a fantasy about you.
And then if I'm rich, I don't have to conform to anything. So you might have a desire that I'm like, oh, I have money, so why are you coming to me like that? Somebody who don't have money is more likely to be inclined that you could subjugate them towards that.
But I don't think it's a hierarchy. I think it's what you're attracted to. I see you're saying it as if because I
only said because I've been in the receiving end and I've been offered quite a few things, and because of other people who may have conformed to that because they was in need or they were desperate, they thought they could pull that on me. But
wait. They were in need. They were desperate. Are you saying that they were in need for what?
Whatever. They might need a new fix, or they might need to pay their bills, or they might need to pay child support. Whatever the case may be, they need a couple of dollars in their pockets. So
you were the Liberace giving out the money?
No. I said the Liberace's tried to approach me, and they tried to get me with that mentality because they got it to work on other people who was less. But I'm the type that if I feel like I'm in need and I don't have it and I can't get legitimate help, guess what? I'll go without. That doesn't bother me. I'm resilient. I could bounce back. So
I can't speak for Liberace. See, all I can say is that if I go looking for strays, now I hate that term. I was just quoting him. There's got to be I'll call them thugs. There's a little more dignity to it. You know what I'm saying? Rather than strays. So if I was looking for a quote unquote thug, because of fantasy, right? There's no hierarchy. It's not that, you're lower than me. You know what I'm saying?
That's how they do. I mean, I'm only going by what was treated. They didn't say it or establish or read it down in the book where I read it in like a pamphlet or something. No, actions speak loud words. Those actions show that they think less of me, especially as a black man. They think that I'm like the other people they approached that was down their luck.
You're talking race now. I was talking, I don't know if Liberace was talking about.
I'm sure most of his playmates were young black and beautiful.
Well, according to the movie, it was all white boys. In the movie, like young white boys, even his son. But
really, people with that kind of money, aren't dealing with those guys. Those guys don't have.
If you go to Hollywood, don't think the white boys and all the white boys in Hollywood. All the white boys in Hollywood aren't rich. They come from all over the country, running away or wishing to be someplace. So they come to Hollywood, and some of them wound up in, doing other things to subsidize their living situation. You understand what I'm saying?
But the point I'm trying to make was that they're not like you said, young, black, and handsome.
Well, I thought you were saying, okay, see, I'm getting confused. I thought you were saying because the white dudes you might have encountered look down upon you. So when I'm quoting Liberace, right? I'm not saying that he was looking for black dudes. He was just saying he's attracted to thugs. I'm sorry, he's attracted to strays. He didn't want Elton John, okay?
But of course.
But we're going to say, he didn't want Elton John. He wanted whomever. He might want a Justin Bieber type, before
now some of them
was Justin Bieber.
Some of them do. Don't get me wrong. Some of them, and I mean, I'm not saying that it's exclusive where they have to deal with their own kind, but for the most part, from what I've seen, I'm only talking about experience because I've been I've been offered these things from these particular type of individuals.
I know. Everybody desires the beautiful black male. They all desire it. They all envy it, but they don't respect it.
Yes, that's the point I was going to make. Yes, that's what I said about looking down because they don't respect it. Yeah.
Even though they want it, they fantasize about it, but they can't seem to respect it for some reason. There's always got to be a negative something about it. Even if you watch, let's say, a movie, right? The director will always put some negative something in it to belittle the black person, even though, well, why didn't you go find some white boys to be in your movie? Why did you find black dudes and now you don't try to belittle the black dude?
They want to give constructive criticism to kind of discourage people, or like I said, to keep you at a certain level. So I guess you don't get too big or your head get too, blown up. Like, but that's not saying that we are, because a lot of us tend to be, on the humble side of things. But for most part, of some of us who are smart and intelligent and wise enough to know our self-worth and know that we're better than some of these things, they don't want us to know those things or to find our candor to be, respectful and think that they don't give us credit for. They rather see us react to things and be negative so that they can look at us less, so they don't have to think about us, being strong or getting that much strength and power.
I don't want to interrupt your show or your own agenda once again. I just want to get a point of view from some fake guys in terms of female strippers, right? First, I want to ask you, can you get that, please? If you were to go to a strip club with dudes, all with females, would you look down upon that stripper?
No, they're entertaining. And on top of that, listen, I don't give up an opportunity, male or female, to see anybody naked. Especially you're going to strip and dance and perform. And if you're good at it, trust me, you're going to get a show.
So it's not a negative. Oh, look at them.
No, listen. And if they look good and I like what I see, I'm trying to grab and touch.
You can answer the question. What's up? If you in your single days, I know you're married man now, but in your single days, when you went to a strip club, did you look down on the stripper and say, "Oh, look at that filthy stripper"? Or would you say, "Whoa, shake it, baby, shake it"? Like,
I did. I looked at it as a job. It's 9 to 5.
No, I didn't.
But you didn't look down on the person like a negative.
No.
Not even at the one who I went to school with.
Everybody got to feed their kids, so.
They're people just like we are. They just chose a profession no different than watching porn. Who don't like to watch porn and see two hot, sexy bodies just,
Did you answer the question?
Yeah, I did.
How about you, Rob?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have nothing against, the adult industry and entertainment. If somebody, like I said, if you're dope and you fly, show me what you got. All right, so I see a lot of people join today, but I ain't getting no interaction, which is all right.
Phone number.
I gave it out 1,000 times, but I'm going to give it again. Again, we're live, so if you want to interact and, be a part of BU, hit us up, 917-727-8020. Again, that number is 917-727-8020. Again, shout out to my boy Tex. You know who you are. My brother Leon. My boy Junior. Today's his birthday. And again, happy Libra season to all the Libras out there and all the Libra birthdays. Especially my brother Daniel. You know who you is. Yeah, I miss you, knucklehead. So we'll link up sometime. Maybe knock a couple of bottles down or whatnot. But yeah, I think I might go out tonight and have me a nice little a nice little drink. All right. You know, well, it's almost about that time too. Oh, okay, okay, all right. I'm just giving them a heads up. Yeah, okay, yeah. Time to 8:30.
Tom Z1's in that?
Yes. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere because we definitely got Yes, I was gonna say love and lust again. What is wrong with me? Okay, we got Venus versus Mars coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. I'm definitely gonna chime in and be a part of that.
So back to your agenda. I interrupted you several times.
All right, and then the last one we got is choices. Again, the laws of attraction. We can't help who we're attracted to. What up, Olakune? I can never say your name, but you know what I mean. What's going on? It's about the choices. Like I said, we can't help who we're attracted to and who we're driven by, who we're drawn to. But you know, and I say the same thing because a lot of women, and I know that I might get shot or get daggers, thrown at me. I'm just trying to see when they're gonna come, so I'm gonna be prepared. Um, I noticed that a lot of women make that choice. We make that choice as well as men, but mostly women tend to get with certain men that they're attracted to, that they would give the time of day to. And again, I'm not knocking people for what your preferences are and what you're drawn to, but also know that the type of man you have that you get with and you give him the time of day, and if he happens to be something negative or whatever, not all men are built like that. It was that particular individual that you chose. And one thing I find interesting is that even if they dealt with multiple men, guess what? A lot of them have the same fucked up shit with them.
What do you mean? Is it like why do good girls love bad guys?
I used to think it was the case because not all bad guys or the bad boys act like that or that. Some of them happen to be good men in the sense that they know how to treat their partner, but they happen to be, what most women would say, hey, that's a bad boy.
Bad boy, right? Well, what's the proper term? How's that term?
You can say bad guy or bad boy. Yeah.
Why do good girls like bad boys?
No, that was DMX's song. Why the good girls like bad guys.
Okay.
When my homegirls die.
Knowing that bad guys tell mad lies. No, but again, even so, whether they come from jail, they hard. Some of the hard brothers out there. Like I said, I'm not knocking them. We're men. We're multi-talented and gifted, no different than some of the variants and the gifts that women have. We're human beings. We mirror each other. A lot of us could excel in some of the gifts that we have, and some of us we won't do as well. Again, there's good human beings, there's bad human beings. But again, as far as like I said, back to how women go, when they get around some of the men that they choose, that they let in, that they give access to be a part of their life, and they choose to grow with them, they tend to think that every man is like that. So therefore, they would kind of shelter and shun themselves and say, "Oh no, I don't want to deal with men because all men are the same." Da 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 da. There's some people, and this is the word I'm starting to learn to love a lot. It goes beyond integrity. It's called accountability, taking responsibility for some of your actions and even some of your choices. Again, some of us are so lazy that we don't want to do the work to know what something is and how to go about it to get it to work out the correct way. What up, Marcus? What up, Robert? Rashid? Um, we tend to want to place the blame and the scapegoat and say it's like this and like that, and then we don't. As human beings, we tend to hold on to things that we don't need to hold on to, never making room for other things to exist or to give a chance to grow. We rather hold on to something that we believe is you know the truth when in reality that's not really the truth. That's not how it goes. What up, Tex? Um, and I just quite never got it or understood as to how that works. So you would never give nobody else the time of day or think about, like I said, even I'm not saying that this got to be your choice and that everybody has to do what I do because again, you got to do what works for you, and there's nothing wrong with being you. But some of us could be us too much where we get fooded and we get diluted and we let things go to our head, and sometimes self-denial and self-delusion is a thing that I noticed that is humanly possible. We all tend to have at times. Some have it greater than others. But again, I saw this meme one time that I thought was quite funny and fascinating. This girl was like, "Oh, I'm done with men. Men is this and that. They all, I'm ready to try something new." Then a dude, came up to her who was definitely not her style, her choice, or somebody she would give the time of day was. And he's like, "Oh, I'm available." She's like, "No, not you." Like as if like, oh, like I'm like, wow. So it means you writing off everything, not giving everything a chance, and being deflective. Because the thing is, the quality that most people want, humanly possible, like I said, and men have it too. We have it just as bad. We tend to see the qualities in certain people that they may have those qualities, but guess what? It doesn't come in the vessel or the form that we feel like we want it from. But then I get it to some degree. It makes sense. I'm not saying it's the best, but I would say it like this: some of us have the ability and the credentials to make it work according to how we like. At times, other of us, like I say, beggars can't be choosy. So again,
Why do you say that? Like Vegas can't be choosy.
because if you're begging, you're looking for something. You must not want it that bad. If you're looking for it to come from a source that it's just not coming from that source. You're attracted to young cuties that's kind of in shape, but if they're not that thing, what did you say? I'm gonna use your words that you said. The only thing I want old is money.
No, that's close. Mom's Mabley used to say, "I don't like nothing old. Bring me something young and legal." Mom's Mabley, not DNA. It's Mom's Mabley. Don't rocks at me. It's Mom's Mabley. She like nothing old unless it's money.
But I like to look at it like this. I'm gonna do one better. Basically, the law of attraction says like this: if certain things aren't gonna be on a oh, we're gonna take a short, quick music break. All right. What I was about to say was damn, I lost my train of thought.
Okay, so maybe we'll come back to you after the break.
All right. After the break, we'll figure out how I lost track. But we'll take a quick break. Oh wow, some music. Okay. This is what I need. This. Oh, you already know I'm on some focus. You already know that, Anthony. And good to see you, by the way, sir. How you been? Yeah, we got cancer up in the house too. All right, well, I was waiting for my little challenge over there, Mr. Chi-Town over there. Yeah, I need some kind of good music, some kind of ambiance to kind of, put me in the mood to kind of, Yeah, we just been having technical difficulty here because of the updates for our software and our programs for the the turntable, and the programs for our computer that we use. Whether it's like Apple or Mac, it's like we can't win it. And our technician, he seems to be on strike, not wanting to make sure we're optimum. you know, we ran out of cuties to kind of distract him to make him focus and doing his job. Yeah, you already know, Anthony. You already know. How's your week been? Oh, you missed it earlier too. I was talking about our Libra friends and some of the good qualities they have and some of the toxic characteristics that they have. And you know the one I'm talking about in particular. You know, I ain't gonna give no names, but you know which one I'm referencing. What up, Shamel? Welcome back. Welcome back. Another Taurus up in the house. Yes, sir. Always, man. It's always a pleasure and honor to see you, Anthony. Really, it really is. Like I said, seeing you at that seeing you at that party was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're here. I was like, wow, I could hang out with this dude and see how he is and see him in his element. Yeah, I could use one right this because after I'm done in the studio, I'm definitely gonna use one. But I gotta tourist all the way back to Brooklyn for that. You know, I need to start making some friends out here. In the uptown areas because I would like to. Nah, to some degree it doesn't. I only follow the signs as far as the characteristics and the traits. The rest I actually pay attention to who the individual is. But some people tend to be those things, not because it's in a book, but basically, if you do a study and you watch people and you observe people, sometimes those things that you read in the book tend to be true amongst people. A lot of it tends to be true sometimes. Trust me, a lot of people are true to themselves and what their truth is and what happens in life. So, and I have no choice but to listen. If you show me the truth, then I'm gonna do my homework. So you mean to tell me after today, ain't nobody, and you of all people, Shamel, you of all people, you got a lot to say. You could have, I'm sure you could call in and say things or whatever. Because after the music break, I'm definitely looking to hear what's on the agenda. Like I said, I was talking about the laws of attraction, morality, aesthetics, representation, bonds and connections, choices, drive, attitude. Now I'm not home. I'm in the studio. I'm at a radio studio. Hey, I try my best, Tex. You definitely already know. You already know when it comes to us Tauruses, we have to give it the truth. We gotta give it the raw thing. And again, like I said, that strength and that ability that we and that resiliency that we tend to have, we tend to, what you want me to open my mouth for? What? You got a blunt? You gonna put a blunt in my mouth or something? Talking about no, open your mouth. Really? You silly. Yeah, I see you. I see you too. Oh no, I'm gonna kind of get into that. I might talk about the toxic variant maybe next week. Definitely. I definitely want to get into the meat of things, but for that, I would like a little bit more interaction, more challenge. Somebody can help me, drop the ball. I mean, I can do it by myself, but it's not cool if it's just one sided and I'm, the one who's doing the dialogue or whatever. I mean, even if you're shy to talking on the phone, just type whatever you had. I definitely had a great time with you, man. I definitely would have liked to see you, cut a little loose, but I'm glad you decided to be responsible because you had to drive, and like I said, your driving is definitely fantastic and phenomenal, far far better than most people I've seen. All right, I'm back. All right, we're back from our radio break, music break. All right, but yeah, as far as that party that you were saying, Anthony, yes. Uh-oh, and you about to get fought on, but Shamel, you might get fought on too because yeah, some things have changed, but and yes, it's another one of us. So you already know how we do. Do you see one? Yeah, I have one, but it's invisible, and I don't want to show it. Um, only certain people would know where it's located. All right, but for those of y'all who just tuned in, like I said, um, I'm basically trying to open the floor. We're trying to build an understanding with us as same gender loving or LGBTQ about how we approach and how we see other people and how to appreciate more other people's walks in life and their choices that they chose for themselves. You may not be happy to celebrate certain things that people choose and what they choose to do and represent, but you shouldn't knock it for anybody else if that's what they choose. If they choose to represent and behave that way or be something, let it be their choice. Celebrate that by showing you understand it. understanding doesn't necessarily agree to it, or you yourself have to follow or abide by that guideline, but you understand that you live and let live. That's something that's a variant that lives alongside us, and it should be embraced. No, you definitely did, man. You definitely did. You know what? We don't need you. Listen, you are too good looking to be fighting and getting, all that other stuff. I already know. Look, I already could see that, you the type that you seem to be a little happy with your hands. You could box a little bit. But again, that's definitely not a good look. We got so much better things to offer. Like I said, we're gifted. We're princes. We're king. Not princess, but a prince. I'm saying the plural of prince. And we're kings. But
How does one pronounce plural prince? How is it pronounced? Princesses? How do you pronounce it? That's a good point you was making.
all right. Does anybody know how to say the plural of prince? The male variant, not princess. How do you say this?
For prince.
Because I don't know, but I think it just sounds funny the way I say it. If I say princess, it sounds like I'm saying princess, but it's it's just funny. But again, it's about choices. Like I said, we can't help who we're attracted to, but at the end of the day, is your attraction one-sided? Is it really something that could be sustained, and is it receptive? Is it being received? And again, I feel like I know, like with my approach, if I have a hard time, and I try to do it on a basic level as possible, that could be universal in the sense of like, hey, look, the only way I get to the advanced level where I do something that's specifically for you is once we establish the basis, then I could get on to the okay, what makes you different than everybody else, and I kind of look for that as far as even if somebody have an interest in me, okay, you might be digging me, you might like me, my style, my flow, my swagger. But guess what? All right, what is it about me? What makes me stand out amongst somebody? Why me? Because I feel like a good-looking dude comes a dime a dozen. But then it's not really about your looks. It's really about how you market yourself. Your personality. You know, your attitude. How you what you come off, the energy, your vibes. And if you have a powerful one, then yeah, you're gonna get lots of people who may not know why they're at your doorstep, but they're there.
Do you know the song? Do you know the song about personality? You got a
Yeah,
personality.
yeah.
Personality.
The talk, the smile, the like I said, some people don't have it. Think about confidence too. Like even when you're attracted to somebody, if they don't have a certain level of confidence, it could be a little bit of a letdown. And especially if they have insecurity with them, or what's the word I'm looking for? They have low self-esteem. Okay, if you do, why are you picking that as a choice? If you have to worry about what's the worst you could do, or that it could be taken from you, or that they might find interest somewhere else because you may be lacking something. So if you're lacking something, that goes to show you. Like I know I'm not going to be in a position where I feel inferior or feel like, hey, at any given time, you know, shit could get loose and crazy, and like, hey, it's gone. Like I said, I learned to learn my target and what I'm dealing with. Like I said, and then sometimes the attitudes that people, give off when they can't get what they want for you, or you don't function, or exist on a certain level that they find familiarity with. Like again, excuse me, like some of you fellows said in the beginning of the show that that of how you do things. I feel like if you can have an attitude and say fucked up derogatory things after I say no or explain to help you understand why, it shouldn't come to the point where you think that, oh, you think it's basically about me being superficial when it's really about preference. Preference is whatever you see in me. The only way I'm willing to do that work or put in that effort or even somewhat remotely given to your fantasizable delusions you have of me, I'm only willing to be that for particular type of people. As simple as that. I'm only open for somebody who's on the same level or giving off the same energy and vibe as me. Now, somebody toxically said to me one day, "Oh, I'm looking for another me." No, there's other people that could give up the same energy but choose a choice entirely different. But guess what? Their choices led them to the same destiny that I've arrived at. And guess what? They might have got there faster or even later than I did. But regardless of when they arrived there and got there, they got there and I acknowledged them or they acknowledged me. That's the only people. What up, Latanya? Latanya Cleary, okay. Wait, I wonder if you're related to my friend. There's only one person I know with that last name variant. But welcome. Thank you. Again, like I said, it's really about aesthetics and styles. Again, some people give off a great or awesome representation as to what they're about, what they represent, what they stand for. You know, and especially if they are good at exhibiting, you know, their strengths and they're aware of the weaknesses where it's not going to get the best of them or hinder them, you know, because they're aware. And I'm always aware of my weakness at any given time, especially when it comes to dealing with people. You know, I'm pretty good at critiquing how I am with different personality types because I've been around different types of people. Like I said, and I'm always matching myself up, see how I stack up against this person, how I stack up with that person. Not even just who they are as individuals, but how they move and if they're true to themselves about how they represent themselves and what they feel is the best, you know, is the best term for them to exhibit, you know, living at that level. You know, again, like I said, but not everybody does that, and I don't expect everybody to do that. But know that I'm a guru, I'm a sage of some sorts to know that again, I know where I stand, and I'm only interested in where I would fit at naturally without having to try or put an effort. And quite frankly, like I said, one of my many gifts, I have many. One of my many gifts is that I'm gifted with if I want to do with something or I want to apply myself to something, there's no limit to what I can do. All I gotta do is want to do it. And quite frankly, I've kind of wowed people over the years sometimes, even without trying. That wasn't my intention, it wasn't my goal. And they were happy with a half-ass job or a half of me, meaning that half of me was able to exhibit something that they think and that's the whole thing, but it's not. There's more. What up, Tory Signs? But yes, but back to that party, Anthony. If you're still here listening, I'm talking about Anthony Hill. Um, yes, it was definitely good to see you, you know, in your element to do things because I always saw you as a fun-loving guy who knows how to have fun, who knows how to interact and you know do things, and you have a definitely a energy about you that you know that definitely speaks that you know how to have fun with people. And from some of the things you do and hearing some of the stories that you did, you know, that you shared with me, I was amazed that you know, and you actually touched and influenced a lot of people. I've noticed that, and that's definitely a good thing. And sometimes you cancers definitely tend to have a lot of that with you guys. You definitely tend to do. And again, you know, the moon rules you guys signs, and you know, the moon is crazy with energies, especially emotional and the ones of the sexual variant. Oh, word of advice too for anybody who's listening still. Definitely put it to test. If you ever see that there's a full moon out, pay attention to the actions in people's, you know, and see things. Some people tend to go a little crazy, and you don't realize the moon affects people's the moon affects people's moods and certain things like they come out of character. Let's just say this. Yeah, even I have my werewolf moments. And yes, under a full moon, sometimes I transform. For the most part, I'm a good boy. All right, and I'm gonna close up with what up, Leo? We got another Taurus in the house. There's so many of us today. I wanted to say, and I'm definitely going to pay homage and be thankful that this year alone, in 2019, I met a lot of my brothers, a lot of Tauruses. Yeah, it was a hit. And the energy that we have, man, it's crazy. When all of us get together, we in one place, and the energy is just like, you know, astounding. And all I can say was that there was a lot of that great energy, and there's still a lot of it around me. Even if I'm by myself and my lonesome, I still feel like there's a whole pack or a whole, you know, stampede or herd right behind me. Like, yo, we ready for something? Like, okay, you ready? Just give me the word. But damn, I lost my train of thought. What was I about to say? But yeah, 2019, I met so many different Tauruses, or reconnected with ones who I haven't seen in quite some time, and you know we had so many good things. But again, before I run out of time, I'm going to talk about the toxic variants of how, what did it say? Toxic and controlling people. Yes. All right. One thing I realized is running rampant in our community, and it's funny because it goes beyond that scope of dating and relationship too. That you can even have friends or family members who have toxic behavior about them controlling and manipulating and wanting things to go their way. One thing I would try to empower people. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you so much for that. You see that, brothers? If you see that, you see that. Leo, I hope you're watching too. Yes, us Tauruses are amazing people, and we can be. We're not perfect, but
Quick question: are there any comments you might want to read from Facebook?
I actually been reading them.
Okay.
Yeah.
On both pages?
Yep.
Okay.
Um, Toxic and controlling people. I look at it one thing, and I'm saying this. I'm hoping that whoever gets this could could receive, they can receive it in a way where it help them in their time of need, especially when they become around these people. Mind you, toxicity comes in different variants. Yes, it even comes in a nice, pretty face like this. That's not saying I'm toxic, but team tours for life. Absolutely, Leo. You're absolutely right. Um, I want to say if you find yourself in a situation where it seems like it's being unfair, and it goes to anything, like I said, whether it's family members, a friend, or a mate, know what you're dealing with and know how to go about it, and not to get trapped or somebody flip it, or here's the awesome word, deflected on you, even when you kind of put it in the right context. Like, okay, we could play volleyball or tennis all day. I'm good at hitting things back and forth if you try to come for me, you know. But I say it like this: you never push. I'm gonna use my words that I had. It's what to say, and I don't have to try, but I believe this is definitely my truth, and I'm living and walking my truth. But I try not to push my morality or my way of life on others. Meaning that if I live a certain way and I believe a certain thing, I do it because it works for me. I believe in it, and that's what I choose to do. I don't expect other people to follow that. If you choose to want to do it, that's fine. It's got to be your choice. It's never going to be my choice. I'm never going to have to pressure somebody. And I feel like, um, why should why should somebody's pressure of what they feel like they want from me be something where I have to feel guilty or lessen myself or give you the benefit of the doubt that, okay, let me try this because you said so. And then what if I try it and I've tried it? And I hate to say what ifs because I can speak my truth. I've tried those things and it didn't work. The things I have tried, this is what I did. If it was meant to get, if you give it to me in the form of influence, I take it. It's a little entity. I have it in my hand, and I transform it into something that it works for somebody like me because I know the results I'm looking for, what I want. Unfortunately, that's not reality for other people who, if they had the opportunity and they had what I had, they would create something different, and that's fine. You're always going to create something that's only meant and unique for you, you know. And it gets sad and discomforting when people don't realize that for whatever you see in my life, especially the good things, and let's just look at the good things. For whatever you see without knowing my story and who I'm about and what I'm about, I would say that I had to be doing something right, you know. So evidently, if I did it and and people are drawn to it and they want to ask questions or see why or how is that possible, then evidently I must have did something that nobody else was able to do, and I was supposed to do that for me. It's supposed to work for me, not you. I don't do these things to make it work for other people. Other people can make it work if they're bright enough and smart enough or receptive enough to, like I said, take what you could see or observe from me and transform it to your own thing. That's exactly what I've done. Anything that anybody's given to me or influenced me, I transformed it to make it work for me. You know, and I feel like that's the best gift that we have as Tauruses. And I would say women Tauruses are a little bit better at it than we are.
Lies.
No, they are because they're not clouded with an unnecessary thing. Us Minotauruses, I think we're a little bit more emotional than they are. They're a little bit more emotionally stronger than we are on certain levels. You know, despite the fact that we are men, but we tend to be a little, you know, sensitive on that thing. All right. But in my closing remarks, next week I will get into more details about toxic and controlling, and I have something a little bit more elaborate that focuses solely on that. But again, this was definitely a fun Saturday night. I'm happy that it took me a little long to get here. I'm here. And again, I want to say again, happy Libra season. Scorpio season is next, right around the corner. So we got to give a shout out to them as well. And again, I thank you for my Cancer friends, my other Taurus friends, and my other Taurus brothers. Thank you guys for tuning in. Definitely see you next week. And again, special shout out to my boy Tex. Hope you doing it big out there. You know they say, we got the Texas Longhorn, but guess what? I'm the Angus beef over here. All right, Mr. Hill, 10-4. See y'all guys later.
So finally in closing, just run down the topic.
All right. All right. Today's topics was basically about the laws of attraction. We had morality, aesthetics, representation, bonds and connections, choices, drive, and attitude. All right, again, this is BU, and this is your host, Rockman. And thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you, and I love you guys. See y'all next Saturday. What up, Nate Carter?
DNAradio.net.
Where's up in the house? Where you be getting all these nice, cool shirts from? I want some of them things like that. I'm sitting there thinking, I got a nice fresh Puma shirt and a nice Puma kick. And here you are with this Black Panther, and I'm sitting here like this.
Wakanda forever.
Wakanda.
What's good?
What up, Miss Charms? Good.
We are here to help support and uplift our brothers and sisters in STL.
I just got hungry all of a sudden.
Be you.
Headphones right here.
I'll take that.
Your phone is gone.
Sincere, open-minded, and clear.
You grab that chair, Ron.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Which one?